What's the weirdest thing you've done as a result of social anxiety? One time when I was a kid, I was calling up a girl I liked to ask her if she wanted to hang out. Her mom answered the phone, and in my awkward teenage bumbling I asked her mom if she wanted to hang out. I'm still not quite over that one, nearly 10 years later. After work, I decide to get a beer at a bar. I teach night classes on a side of town I'm not used to, so I go into random sports bar, and I sit alone. I do not watch most sports. Later, me, in my mind, it's getting late. I should go home. Random guy, hey, this Texans game is good. Can't believe something football-y happened. Me, pretending to know football stuff. Yeah, these dudes are dope. The Texans are in for some trouble if they mess up. Guy, finally, someone on my side. The guy buys me beer. We are now best friends. Turns out we are the only fans of whatever the other team is in this bar. We bond over our outsider status. I have no idea what to say, and as the night goes on, he keeps buying beer. I have pretended to like football for too long to come clean now. I end up watching the whole game. Our team lost. I didn't get home until midnight. The other day at my small office I went to the bathroom to fix my shirt which I had worn inside out. When I went into the stall the bathroom was empty. As I flipped my shirt around someone walked into the stall next to me. I also used some toilet paper to wipe my nose, slight cold, and dropped the paper in the bowl. This triggered the auto flush sensor and it flushed. My predicament began when I realized I also had to pee, but since I had already used TP and flushed my twisted mind decided this would seem really weird to the person next door. Why would someone use the bathroom, flush, and then stand up and pee again? Said no one ever. But I couldn't. They might recognize my shoes and know who I was. So instead I hatched a clever deception. I left the stall and washed my hands to seem normal, despite that I hadn't even used THS bathroom. After drying I walked loudly to the exit and opened the door into the hall. Then I said oh excuse me, like I had accidentally bumped into someone else coming in, and walked right back in. I made sure to change the sound of my footsteps walking more quietly, so that stallman would think I was a different person, and not some freak playing bathroom charades. Then I went to the urinal and peed, and then washed my hands again, using the farthest sink, so he couldn't spot my shoes. I'm from Ireland, a Catholic enough country. I deliver pizzas, and one night a woman said God be with you as I was walking away, and I stumbled over my words, and said peace be upon you like the fecking pizza pope. Cringed pretty hard walking away as she just looked at me. Edit, toppings be upon you my children. Pizza upon you. I was at a Chipotle. The girl asked me how my day had been. I said large please, because I got confused and thought she was asking what size I wanted. Then she asked if I wanted white rice or the other rice they had, and I said yes. Was at a picnic with some friends 10 to 15 people, turned into like 50 to 75 people within an hour. Enter extreme anxiety. Went up to grill to get hot dog. Cute girl walks behind me to get one, notice and start sweating. Barbecue homie hands me my hot dog, so nervous I drop it right onto the cement. Didn't know to get another one so picked it up with dirt all over it, took a bite, and walked away. This moment haunts me still. It's kind of long-winded, but I hope it paints the picture. About 15 years ago I was a young teen browsing the electronics section of Walmart. As I was leaving that area this guy and girl around my age were coming into the electronics area. They saw me and both enthusiastically said hey, like they were happy and surprised to see me. I didn't recognize them, but I thought maybe we had a class together or something, so I was like hey, how's it going? Feigning cheerfulness as I tried to place where I knew them from. They both looked at me weird and made a face then walked past me to a guy and girl behind me, greeting them. I was so embarrassed and anxious I just got out of the electronics department as fast as I could without running and went to the next department over, which ended up being ladies clothing, the bra and panty area. A female employee came over and asked if I needed help, looking at me confused because of the department. I was flustered and said, sorry just trying to find electronics, to which she replied oh it's over this way come with me. I didn't want to go back, but now I was obligated, so I followed her back, and as we approached I saw the two teens I had the awkward interaction with and their two friends all look up and stare at me. "There ya go hun," the employee said, then she started chatting with the cashier in electronics. At that time Walmart's electronics section was like a big square with only one opening for entrance and exit. Go deter theft, so now I'm trapped in this area with the people I just had the awkwardness with and the employee that just escorted me from women's clothes. I was so embarrassed and my whole body felt hot from anxiety. I just blankly stared at the video games behind the glass until the other people left, and then I took off. Ugh. I went into a store I used to work at expecting to see my coworkers so I could greet them. A lady was there, but I had no idea who she was. She asked me if she could help, and I stuttered a no. Then I stood and kind of tapped my feet around like I was a reffin' tap dancer, and I tried apologizing, but instead said I'm not looking for you. She looked so confused, and I could feel my face getting red. I literally ran out. Not just walked, quickly ran and slammed into the door. It's heavy and hurt my arm. Though injured, I trudged on. I heard her call out and ask if I was okay as I ran out. Now I can never go back. Talking to my boss after a long day of exams and assignments. I go to leave and she catches the door before I can leave to say goodbye. For some reason my wired brain made me give her Finjergens and say zoop as I walked away. Thought about it the whole way home. This one time I was approached by a high school girl trying to get my contact info. I'm only 22, so I guess I'm passable for just an older guy, but clearly you gotta say no. So me, being a Reddit user, said something stupid. I started to say sorry, but I'm old enough to be your dad. But that was so dumb I changed it mid-sentence to sorry I'm old enough to be your brother. But that didn't make any sense, so what really came out of my mouth was sorry I'm old enough to be your brother's college roommate, and then we both stood there in that amazing WTF feeling you get when you're just overloaded with WTF. Reminds me of my little sister's engagement party. Not normally socially anxious, but was going through a rough time and couldn't deal with a house full of people I didn't know. It was at my now brother-in-law's parents' house, and most of guests were on his family's side. First person I spoke to, I stuck my hand out and said hi, I'm Vicky's sister, I'm male. Got flustered and tried to backtrack by saying my mean sibling. I'm a relative F. Get a grip you prick. Because I'd made the mistake and got flustered. I repeated it about 4 times that afternoon, topping it off by saying I'm Vicky's sister. Shit, she is my brother. I hide when I have to make important phone calls at work. I hate phoning people, yet went and got a job that required it, which is ridiculous. I'll hide my caller ID and go take a walk to calm myself down, then use my mobile to call clients away from the office so nobody is listening. I had to pick something up from someone's house and was desperate for the loo. Didn't want to ask to use the bathroom in their house, so instead picked what I needed up, rudely rushed through small talk, basically ran to my car, drove far enough away they couldn't see me, and then parked again, and half pissed myself running into a bush. Wasn't even the first time I'd been to that house. One time, I had to leave someone a voicemail. So I wrote out exactly what I had to say and read it like a script. When I left the message, something about making calls really gets me anxious, and I forget what I was going to say, or it gets jumbled. Scripts help, although I'm better at calls now. This was years ago. I have gotten out of my car, walked up to the house of the party, then walked back to my car, then walked back up to the house, then back to my car until I finally texted my friend at the party, asking him to come get me outside, so I wouldn't have to walk in front of the crowd alone. My solution is to arrive at the party before anyone else does and get hammered. That way my social anxiety is far gone before anyone shows up. My parents always bring up the time when I was 4 and we were at this Mexican restaurant. Apparently they started singing happy birthday to me, to which I smiled, but then got nervous and promptly, confidently, leaned over and bit my dad on the arm. I was going leave my room to make dinner, but then I heard my roommates and their friends talking outside. I didn't want to talk to them, so I waited until they left and just bought takeout instead. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.